You call yourself an entrepreneur and a coach. Tell me more about your coach side.
Yeah. I've seen life in a quite close proximity. हमें 2 टाइम का खाना नहीं मिलता था. With no resources, no education initially, that gave me the foundation of what life all about. देखो हमें हिंदी इंग्लिश का फ़र्क मालूम है, गरीबी अमीरी का फ़र्क मालूम है, देश विदेश का मालूम है, एम्प्लॉयर्स का मालूम है.
Your goal for 2030 is to reach 250 million in revenue at In Time Tec.
Yep.
कैसे? So, welcome everyone on the Consulting Vibes podcast, and Jeet, we call it Consulting Vibes for a reason. We hope that our conversations are going to be all things consulting in personal and professional lives. And I hope during this we'll be able to create some consulting vibes that my team here can pick on. And hopefully, if they agree to some of the things, they will be able to bring those in their everyday work. So thank you once again for joining us today. Really appreciate you taking time out. I know it's a busy schedule. You have to fly today evening to Bangalore, then Australia to tomorrow, and whatnot. So thank you. And
So by the way, thank you very much, Anil, and thank you everyone. It's a privilege and a blessing to be around and surrounded by people who care about themselves, who care about other human beings, and who care about the world to become a better place. Because conversations are the only way.
true.
Right? Conversation, communications are the only way when the creation can happen. So I don't take this conversation as yet another conversation. It's a conversation for creation. And what we would like to create is we are going to explore today.
Absolutely. And I'm personally looking forward to it because someone from India being an entrepreneur in IT professional services is a rare thing. It's not pretty common in that sense. And Jeet was able to build a massive business across the globe. And obviously, we'll talk about it and get into the details. But before that, tell me one thing. Do you all know him already? Yes? Okay. Is there anything you can tell us about him that you know, which others may or may not know? Anything unique?
I'm bald-headed guy.
And you lost all of them while setting up this business? Okay. So that tells that IT professional services, there is a high risk of...
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. No, nothing? Sure.
He cares about fitness, but I can just open to pay.
Yeah, he's a fitness person, which is really nice. Okay, so I'll tell you a few things, and then I'm gonna ask you a few questions as usual, because I hope that audience does their homework when they come to sessions like this. So let's see if you have done your homework or not. But before that, Jeet is an electronics engineer from MNIT Jaipur back in 1995, I suppose.
1995.
And after that, he started with job with Tata, and then moved on to US through HP. He was, and that is a very common point between both of us. We both have worked in HP. He has worked for 12 years then. And then you have met Sandeep. Sandeep was here a long time ago now. And with Sandeep and 3 other friends, so total 5 friends started their In Time Tech journey. And you already know why there is no H in tech. Sandeep told us that, right? Because the domain name was not available. So they made it TEC instead of TECH. You know that, huh? Cool. So ice-breaking time. Let's see if you've done your homework or not. Jeet hails from where in Rajasthan? Bharatpur?
Bharatpur district.
Bikaner? Sandeep is from Bikaner. There are 3 engineering colleges in the household. Nagar?
Nagar, Bharatpur.
Correct, Nagar, Bharatpur. So Nagar is between Deeg and Bharatpur, right?
Deeg and Alwar.
Alwar.
Yeah,
Okay.
on that side.
Second one, how many patents does he have against his name? Do you know he holds a lot of patents? 11? Close, right?
Yeah, close. 12 and then couple of defensive publications and trade secrets.
12 patents against his name, all while doing
With HP.
research in HP.
HP.
Okay. The last one, pretty simple one. How many books has he written? That's partially correct, right?
Yeah, 2, and then I have one journal. So inside into creating abundance and creating impact, and then I have a journal. And so all 3 are available on Amazon.
Amazon, yes. So I'll move my focus back on Jeet. And Jeet, these couple of questions are out of my personal curiosity, nothing to do with our podcast. So my first question is that you call yourself an entrepreneur and a coach. And me personally, I get your entrepreneur side, but tell me more about your coach side.
Yeah. I think I have a lot to share, and not a lot to share because I know a lot. But I think you and I were talking when we were in the boardroom, the tons of experience I've gained. I have seen, and we can talk about my background, my life. I've seen life in a quite close proximity. Lost my father when I was 2 years old, raised by a single mom, didn't go to school till 5th grade, dirt poverty. So I've seen a lot.
How old were you?
2 years old when I lost my father.
And you had 4 elder sisters?
3 elders, 1 younger. So when my father passed away, I'm 71 born. So when August 71 is my birth month, and 74 June my father passed away. And that time my elder sister was 9 years old, then second one 7, 5, I was 2, and younger one was 9 months old. And my mom never went to school, she could not able to write her name. So that experience of growing up in a small village with no resources, no education initially, lot of adversities, lot of scarcity. So that gave me the foundation of what life all about. Then coming out from there to did my polytechnic diploma from Albar first. I went to MNIT in the second year. But between that also I lost 2 years. In those days it was 11th plus 1 plus 3. So it was not a 12 plus 3 scheme. It was like a 10 plus 2 plus 3 versus 11 plus 1 plus 3. And so I went to our college, Albar from Nagar. First time, 15 years old boy. And I was so not clear and sure, getting to a district headquarters like Alvar was a big deal. Didn't know how to make food, didn't know how to take care of it. So I went to Jammu for 2 years to do engineering, quote unquote. Later on, it turned out it was an AMI coaching center. So 87 January, I went over there till 88 June I was there. And I lost my 2 years. I was still 11th pass when I came back from that experience. And so that gave me idea about failures, about setbacks, about challenges, about scarcity, about money and everything. Then did my polytechnic diploma. My token number was 473. My PCM, like in those days, physics, chemistry, math, my 10th was just barely 61%. 11th, I had a 71%. And I used to play a lot of cricket about, my life was all about that. So I'm coming back to why coaching, right? And then from there to 473, my token number, mechanical branch, to top the whole polytechnic, getting into electronics and communication, top the Rajasthan, get into 2 seats only to MNIT. From there to do some work here, went to America, did all that stuff. So I have a lot to share, lot to help people out with. But more generally, it's my love for humans, right? Coaching, you definitely need to know a few things, but then why coaching? Because I think human beings are very capable of doing things. But at times, I find they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So knowing is important. Even this conversation is about knowing, is sharing. Because once you know, I was also very overweight, talked about fitness geek I am, but one time I was 100 kilograms. right? I was 100 kg, overweight in every capacity, in every way, because I didn't know what to do. I used to eat chips. I used to, like being vegetarian and being unhealthy.
And being first time in America.
All Coke, all chips, all stuff. Because I thought that's all how it works, until I realized that's not how it works. What protein, what fat, what carbohydrate, what minerals, what vitamins, and all of that stuff. But so what came in my way to become who I was or who I am is lack of knowledge, lack of knowing. And so I took up on a coaching to help people to get to know a few things about.
Yeah, very, very interesting. So in your life, you wished that you had certain knowledge, and if you had that knowledge early enough, you could have shaped your life even better. Although you've done pretty amazing already. So you feel like exchanging and sharing that knowledge that you now possess through your struggles with others, probably they'll be able to do better.
Yeah.
With this.
Wow. Absolutely. हमें जो 40 साल में मालूम पड़ा, वो औरों को क्यों ना 20 साल में मालूम पड़े. So if they get a head start of 20 years advance, now doing or not doing, it's up to them and for them to take it on that side of the conversation. देखो, हमें हिंदी इंग्लिश का फ़र्क मालूम है, गरीबी अमीरी का फ़र्क मालूम है, देश विदेश का मालूम है, एम्प्लॉयर्स का मालूम है, ना पैसा ना लाइक बहुत कुछ पता है. कैसे लिमिटेशंस में गरीबी में रहें, कैसे आप अफ्लुएंट एंड प्रॉस्पेरिटी में रहें, कैसे आपको कुछ नहीं आता, गांव में पड़े हुए हैं हिंदी में, और वहाँ की लिमिटेशन, आप कॉलेज में गए MNIT में, वहाँ की क्या स्ट्रगल्स रहे हमारे, वो पता है. हम यहाँ पर इंडिया कैसे काम करता है, अमेरिका कैसे काम करता है, एम्प्लॉयज़ हम कैसे बने. मैंने 15 साल काम किया, 95 to 96 February to 2009, 13-14 years to last 15-16 years. I'm an entrepreneur, so both sides I've seen. छोटा गांव, बड़ा गांव, शहर, कस्बा, no father, no leader at home, no brother, to abundance of creation and possibility through leadership. So there are a lot of things which I have acquired, not as a bookish knowledge, but by going through some of the
life experiences.
Painful, transformational, enjoyable. I would not change even a bit. But I have so much compassion towards other humans because humans want to do well.
Yeah.
And having some of my life serve towards them to really get to know to do well is worth living on this planet. That's it.
Follow-up question.
Please.
Amazing intent. Okay. Very thoughtful, very inspirational. However, that's just half the equation, in the sense that you are willing to share, you want to share, you want to do it genuinely, and you have been doing it for quite some time now. The other half of the equation is, how it lands and whether people reciprocate to it or not. Because most people think, okay, this may be your experience. What are the odds this is gonna be my experience? Or maybe I'm not gonna go through the same struggles. Maybe my experience is gonna be very different. Maybe my world is gonna be very different. So there are so many maybe what ifs. So how has been the reciprocation from the people whom you have coached so far?
Yeah, very insightful question. Human beings, and I'm also human beings, including myself. Human beings are lazy by design.
They are.
And there are two kinds of laziness, and I'll talk about from where it comes from. Physical laziness, and the other side of it is emotional laziness. That is also mental laziness. I think I've seen it's easy to fix the physical laziness part, right? I think if we can really give them some ideas, they will get up early morning and they do whatever they do. It's not difficult. But the emotional and mental laziness is tough to break. Very, very tough to break. And if you look at the human evolution, in a cave time, humans, like there is a book called Homo sapiens. I'm sure some of you must have heard, and highly, highly recommend that book. If you are serious student of life, you should read Homo sapiens. It talks about that, look, when human evolution was happening, we were only doing things when it was required to do. Whether it was, we were like a gatherers, or hunters and gatherers. We were that, like cave. And we live in a small community of 150 people. There are domiciles, and humans never lived together as a group or as a village until agriculture evolution, right? So if you think about before agriculture, people used to walk. People used to go when they needed, they kill or they harvested, they ate, they call it good. When they felt hungry, then that's what they thought about, let's do something. So animals, predators all around, extreme weather, not supply of foods. So we are humans by design. Our body, our DNA, our genetics are not designed to do. Our mind would not let you do, because it says you need to save your energy. You need to conserve all your energy, because you don't know what you're up against tomorrow. That's why if you think about, we eat a lot also at times. When मेरी भांजे की शादी थी. So I went to a marriage party, and there's so much food out there. There's just abundance of food. So you talk about abundance. And I could see not that anybody is judging, but ice cream to khani hi padegi.
Incomplete.
And it all comes down to, because in winter time, human body need extra layer of fat in those days, because there was extreme weather. It gives you insulation. And so humans, they wanted to eat. That's why before winter, everywhere there is a festivals. Whether it's a Christmas festival, Diwali festivals, all the design of festivals are that you eat extra to keep a layer of your fat so that you can go through the winters. And in the summer, you need to really know the 4 mahine shaadiyan nahi hoti, just after when winters are over. And there is a logic behind all of that. So humans only do when it is required. And it is in our genetics, in our DNA, and you need to fight through. So coming back to how it is being received, I always say the coaching is a fine line between inspiring someone by helping person to see what is possible without making that person mad. Because if you tell someone that you are a piece of crap, and that person is mad, he will not be inspired. But until you tell the truth, that person will not be inspired to do something either. So coaching is a fine line to tell the truth without making other person mad. And so how do you achieve that? I think there is a way to achieve that. Most of the times, when I start working, let's say Anil, you and I work together, first few times, few weeks, few months, I will shut the whatever. I won't even utter a word from the statement's point of view.
We are gonna take it out of
Okay then, I will STFU, I call it STFU. I don't know what does it mean, but you can figure it out. And when you do that, you ask simple questions. See, my goal in coaching is 90% asking questions, 10% just making statements.
Okay.
So I will ask, for example, I say, Anil, how's it going? And you will give me a bunch of blah, 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 blah. Life is great. Life here is very tough. And, all kinds of stuff. And I say, okay, if that's what it is going, what are you doing about that? Right away say, tum kya jano is paro ki zindagi? No, meri to lagi hui hai. So that person will do all kinds of stuff. I say, okay, so you tell me then, this is your current state. This is what you want. These are your constraints. Are you going to live this way? Or do you see any hope, any light at the end of the tunnel? And say, the person mostly start become real by that. And then I start say, okay, look, the reason why you are where you are, because all the decisions you have made so far.
Yep. True that.
You are in the moment is the reason, the collection of the choices and the time that you have spent. So there is a good news in that and there is a bad news in that. I will mostly ask, which one do you want to hear, good news or bad news? And most of them say, tell me the bad news. And I say, here's the bad news. Whatever happened, you can't change it.
Can't.
Past cannot be changed.
True.
It's here to stay. And then I come to the good news that since you are the one who made it happen, you still have a power to change it also too. Now, the question which I ask is, are you interested to change? Right? You can talk all day long, but nothing happens until you do.
Yep. Whenever I talk about coaching, so there are two examples that always come to my mind. So there is this famous TEDx talk by I think neurosurgeon in New York. He's Indian, but he works in New York. So he has this TEDx talk where he says the power of coaching. So he's probably topmost surgeon there. And he was like, every day I used to go there, do the surgery, and I felt that there is nothing else for me to learn. And, he was becoming complacent and whatnot. And some therapist of his advised him saying, you must hire a coach. Okay. And so he hired a coach, and the coach just did one thing. He said, you perform your surgery. I'm just going to watch. And he watched him for a few months. He did not say anything. The doctor was doing the same thing over and over again. And after that, he started telling him this, that. So the surgeon was amazed to see the kind of details that coach provided him, which he never paid any attention to. And then he started working on those details and then rested. So that's one. The second one is watch Novak, the tennis player, his journey with his coach. That is amazing, very, very amazing, like how his coach helped him achieve what he otherwise could not have achieved. So I'll leave that story for you to figure out and watch. But there is so much power to coaching if received with the right mindset and the right intent.
Yeah.
And
I also say, Anil, and I want you all to really get this. Champions only need coaches. Champions need coaches. You might have not seen a street level player needs a coach. If you have a championship mindset, you talk about Nadal or Novak and Djokovic, Federer or tennis, but anything, they are the highest level of peak of the performance, and yet they have coaches. You might not find who plays in a street level to ever have a coach. So
that's a really good perspective.
I always say, if you want to be a champion, find a coach, because that is the only way. That's the only way you can get better, because that person will be able to pay attention to all the details that you are missing and not knowing that you are missing. Now, coaches you need to trust, and coaches you need to listen to. Those are two parts.
Yeah, and that's where Rahul Dravid also famously said that I can't teach these guys how to bat and how to ball. I'm not here to teach them, how should they be playing. I am here to tell them what they should or should not be doing. And, that is an amazing perspective. But the hardest part always is if you have anyone with a coach mindset around you, accepting it is the hardest part, because, human genetics, unless it is forced upon you, you are not going to go out of your way to do something about it. So, but thank you so much. Now I get the coach side of yours, and I hope others do.
And Anil, always, I'm going to say one more time. If you want to be a champion, remember my statement, champions only need coaches. And I want everyone in you too. So Anil is here as part of this leadership team. I'm available. There are many other people are available. I don't charge people, by the way, for coaching. I just help people. But then find someone that you can trust, and then find someone who you can really rely on, and having a gift of openness, and go along with those people, and you will see remarkable results as a champion.
Yep. Cool. Moving on, please. So I read in your LinkedIn profile or on your website, and it said, In Time Tec, your company, helps its clients grow their business by differentiating core from the context to work. Because there is a core work, there is a context. So I understand the core work. What is the context to work, and why In Time Tec is focused on the context to work so much, but not on core work so much?
Sure. And so I'll probably become a little more geeky here and nerdy, and just give me
We
2
get
minutes.
that, right?
Yeah.
Geeky and nerdiness. Okay.
I'm going to get a little technical
Go
here.
for it.
So what is core? I'll define. There is a book out there from Jeffrey Moore. It's not my model or anyone. It's Jeffrey Moore's book, Core and Context. And it talks about that as a company, as an organization, even as an individual, you need to know what is core to you. And you always keep your core to you. For example, if you ask me, what is core for Tesla? Tesla's core is engineering.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Microsoft, what is core for them? Maybe having a high-level design, transformational application development, like any of those. So any organization, I always recommend keep core to you. Now, that allows you to know that's a secret sauce, my core, my thing, my USP, my thing. Mm-hmm. And you never ever let that go out. And you nurture, you grow, you expand, you do whatever, because that's who you are. Again, as an individual, as in our organization. And once you identify, the rest is all context. All context. Because all of that work can be done by anyone else. Core is you. Now, not that you need to get all of that out, but it becomes a candidate. It becomes a candidate to having a conversation that can be done by someone else.
Okay.
Right? So,
is there a good example?
Yep. So, for example, in the US, we are software development company. Like, we do software development. I'll talk about what is core to context to others. And you are here as a HR, and I'm so glad it's in-house. But on the US side, our HR operation is outsourced.
Okay. In Time Tech's HR is
outsourced. But that's an example. We don't do.
Okay.
Because that's not core.
Mm-hmm. So core is software development.
Software development.
We want to do that. Everything else around it, we want
can
someone
become
else
a candidate
to do it for us. Okay.
But in the India side, we have a whole HR team.
Yeah.
It's a different story. So I always look at it. Jeffrey Moore says, keep core to close to your heart, nurture, grow, expand. And the rest, you need to really look where you can generate effectiveness and efficiency. Mm-hmm. Right? So for VK, and by the way, a context for one company can become a core for another company. See, we outsource our HR operation to a company whose HR is core. So then now you're leveraging other person's capabilities, their processes, their innovation, because they are good at HR now.
So that's an amazing messaging, right? That you're giving to your customers, that we are here not to take your code.
That's it.
We are here to support you with your content.
Bingo.
Nice.
Right? And people say, wow, you are going to help me out?
Yeah.
For something which is not my core. Now, people, what they hear when they hear context is, it's a leftover work, or it's a second citizen related work. Or we do high-tech innovation and you do testing. By the way, I was a tester starting my career. Those who have a qualification, QA background, I have a deep respect for you guys, because Seriously, I'm telling you, and I'll tell you why.
But the question is, do they have these respect
For themselves. That's a different story. But that's what it is, that they think it's a leftover or it is not a important work. I say without HR, we cannot run our operation. How can you run the operation until you have a employee handbook, until you need to hire the right people, groom them, all that stuff. But that's not where the energy is. I would like us to have energy now. We have IT and cybersecurity in-house because that became our core. We are providing pen testing, cybersecurity. Earlier, by the way, it was also our context. So every year we look at it, what is our core, what is our context, and we just tell people we are doing it for ourselves, and that's what we want other companies to rely on. You keep your core, give it us the context, and we'll take care of you because that's our core.
Lovely, lovely perspective. So before I move on to my next question, is there any question popping in anyone's head?
Yeah, one.
Please.
So you mentioned about like having a coach to become a champion, to be a champion. So who has been your coach or who is your current coach?
Yeah. And remind me your name? Amit. See, Amit, as I share, my life is a collection of very interesting events. Not having anyone in my life made me who I am today. Again, my mom didn't know much. No father, no brother, no one helped me. So by the time, by the way, Sandeep is 3 years younger to me, right? He's 74 born, I'm 71 born. I did my polytechnic diploma, I went over there. I think I always became someone who had to take the bull by the horn, being at the helm of, because I found myself, because of all what I have gone through in my life, being a little ahead. Not that I knew everything, but for a given scenario, given circumstances, given situation, I was a little ahead of things. And that gave me a lot to do rather than a lot to learn. And my learning came from the doing side of it. Rather than, I never took in a pause and say, oh my God, I need to learn. So I was kept learning through doing. I'm 53 now. And what I have seen, Amit, is that I've learned what I share. I'm really looking for a coach who can keep me straight. And it's just freaking very tough to find those people around. And I'm seriously looking to tell me what's next for me, what I am going to do, what I really look for it. And it's not, I'm not able to find those people around. So then I still want to learn. I still want to grow. So here are few ways I'm finding coaches without coaching. Books is a great resource for coaching for me. And there are two ways to read books. You read a chapter and you say, what a chapter. And I read a chapter and my life is upside down for 6 months. I'm not going to the next chapter until I implement that chapter first. I'm not moving. Like there is a book I read on Leading Change by Jim Carter. And when I read the chapter, oh my God, right? I say I'm not moving to next section until I implement that section first in my life. The moment you become that human being, you are so ingrained and so immersed into doing side. And then I go to the next one. Execution, leading. I have a list of books that I could highly, highly recommend. And that's another thing which you can really reach out to me and I'll give you the list. And so that's one. Second, every moment is a coach for me. Like this conversation is coaching for me. So this is not I'm having conversation with you only, Amit. I'm in tune with who you are. Because this is my first time I'm doing something like this here. So I'm looking at the audience, I'm looking at how you are receiving this conversation, what is happening, what is not happening, and I'm constantly looking how I'm going to get better next time. Or what kind of things I can help you so you can get better next time. So every moment is a coach and coaching for me. And lastly, I don't know about methodologies and others, but I always keep a fast on Shivratri. And my fast is not about the fast of I stop on a previous night and I don't eat anything except water and black coffee until the following morning. 36-hour fast I keep. Pure fast, right?
Yeah, some of them are smiling because the definition of fast here is very different.
I know. And the reason why I do that, when you read about Lord Shiva, again, no, I haven't met, no one has, but there is things are out there about. He has a philosophy called when manthan happened, amrit आया, सबने पिया, poison आया, किसी को नहीं पीना था. उन्होंने कंठ में रखा. अपनी कभी परवाह नहीं की उन्होंने. वो भोले बाबा थे, right ना? Like you can go in a mountain alone, धुनी रमा के बैठ गए. उनको कुछ नहीं चाहिए. पार्वती के बारे में, उनके बारे में, like the love that he had for the love of his life. उनका त्रिनेत्र, प्यार से बोलो कर रहे हैं, जब उनका तीसरी आंख खुल गई तो you just watch out. All of that gives me a base to know you cannot be like him, but you have a way to live like him, right? Simple living, high thinking, sacrifice, think about others, live with the lower means, with no under your means, love people like anyone, but then watch out. I always say, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about that, right? I have even a t-shirt. If you say, oh, I'm doing this, I say, there's nothing you can do about that. I just love you. And I also tell, I love you, and I would not put up with your freaking crap. Period. Like running a 1,000+ people company globally, 8 offices. I'm not I'm like coaches and everything. I'm talking about life. But if you come into my meeting, you watch out. Like you just get straight with people. And we have a real authentic heart-to-heart conversation with people because that's what is required to create. So all of that, Amit, is my way of learning and coaching. And I'm very open to be coached. If anyone who you think I can get an access to you and through you to anyone, I would love to meet.
I'll go ahead, please. The follow-up one.
My answers are a little longer, son.
It's fine.
Because, I just give the why.
That's why I asked for 1 extra hour.
Okay, good. I'm here.
So a full-time job in the US with HP and with the entire responsibility of your family, sister's mother on your shoulders. And then yet you decided to try entrepreneurship. So was there any aha moment or any surprising turn of events that pushed you on this path of entrepreneurship?
In Time Tec and my entrepreneurial journey started when I was an 8-year-old boy.
Mm-hmm.
I've written about that in my book. So I was designed to be an entrepreneur. I was just kept going after it. I was kept learning, kept listening, kept growing.
So you had this fire, since early days.
Very, very early stages of my life, I wanted to do something. I was not designed to be yet another employee, not that it is wrong or something. I wanted to be the source of that creation where no kids left behind. That's why we scarcity abundance journey, like we creating abundance kahan se aaya? When you are up against scarcity and adversaries, either you become revengeful or you become resourceful. I chose to be resourceful, and I literally converted that. That's why this creating abundance came from, is that scarcity which I've experienced in my growing up time.
For some reason, most of the success people I have spoken, there has been a moment like this. That has been the pattern in most of such people's story.
And there is a word called for this called aha moment, which epiphany is the word in English.
Epiphany. We build a product with that name.
Yeah.
Epiphany.
Yeah. And Maslow's law hierarchy of needs, if तुम देखें 5 stages हैं. The very bottom of hierarchy of needs is physiological needs, food, shelter. The second one is safety and security. Third one is love and belonging. And these are the 3 stages majority of the human beings get stuck. That khana pani, safety ho gayi, and then belong, love, experience. But actual life experience happen when you cross this epiphany where self-actualization and self-realization. That is the highest form of realized human beings are when you actualize your own potential.
Yep.
And know that your life is not for you only. But until you actualize your own thing in your own ways, you cannot be the extension and expression of life for others through the self-realization. So epiphany is required, not that you have to go through this. There's another word called crucible event. Crucified is the word, but every human being has some kind of a crucial event. And you don't have to have a crucial event. Right? Anything that happened great in this world either happened because of inspiration or desperation. Right? So I don't want you to feel that that event is important or event is required in order to be that extraordinary human being. You can create your own event without having an event. But then it goes back to what I share. Human beings are lazy by design. They won't do it until they have this crucial event. I invite us as a team to really look and then see in this hierarchy of needs, this pyramid that I'm talking about, am I stuck with my food हो गया, shelter हो गया, no security हो गई, safety हो गई, कोई किसी की life की कोई, अब कितना दिन किसी का प्यार चाहिए हमें, right? क्यों ना हम वो बने, हम सबको प्यार दें. Why? How do I become that human being? मेरी टीम का फीचर है, मान लो 5 बंदे अपन काम कर रहे हैं, मेरा हो गया फीचर, मेरा काम हो गया. So what it takes for me to go the extra mile and take care of someone else's future, even though that person is not a good person. Now, it is very easy to take care of your friend's future.
Yeah.
But what if you become that human being, that leader, that mindset, that expression, that extension, that it doesn't matter. How can I be the source? Now, problem is, human beings have a call, oh, wo mera fayda utha lega. He will take an advantage of me. Or my love is kindness and kindness is a weakness. But मैं कहता हूँ कि क्यों है ऐसा आपके साथ? Why not you become, which I share, love everyone and develop skills to not put up with people's crap. But don't compromise on loving people. Address and solve the real problem rather than compromising your own values and your own base and integrity that you really stand for. So,
बहुत मुश्किल है.
And that's the exploration. And once you get to that place, that's when the real leadership starts.
We only need easy things. ये तो complicated है. इसीलिए करते नहीं लोग. Okay, before I move on, anything interesting in anyone's mind?
Please ask me some question. Anything, कुछ भी पूछे आप. कैसे मेरे?
मैं तो बहुत prep करके आया हूँ.
Yeah,
I have a lot of questions. Yeah.
सर 2008 में आपने सेटअप किया इन टाइम टेक.
Yes.
2007 में, if I'm not wrong, highest recession time था.
अब मैं बताऊंगा उस बारे में. 2008 September
Was the
Lehman Brothers failed, like completely that disappeared. September, and if you look at In Time Tec, domain name, go to In Time Tec, you can go to GoDaddy and you can say September 5th, 2008 when it got registered. Right, so keep going.
So, क्या हुआ था उस दौरान? इतने हाईएस्ट पीक रिसेशन में आपको लगा कि आप फाउंड कर रहे हैं.
जो आदमी पागल होते हैं ना, उनको पागलपन सवार होता है दोस्त. मुझे नाम बताओ यार. रितेश. I think Ritesh, I was just, for me, it was less about what was happening outside. It was more to do with what was happening inside. So I was preparing for this for a long time. So 2008, I made a declaration. मैं US से India आया वापस. 2 चीज के लिए. I was an architect, I was patents and everything, but I did not have a people management experience back in the US side. And when I tried my approach, not that people were against it, but it was always being received as, oh, you are good in technology. Keep doing it. And I say, no, I don't. I can do that, but that's not my forte. That's not who I am actually. I need to learn how to lead and manage people in actuality, not as a theory. That's number one. And second, I needed to make money by saving more money. Like I'll tell you, we have bought some real estate and everything. So I came from US to India for two things: saving a little more money and getting experience on people management. And so I came in July 2006 and I gave myself 2 years that I'm going to do this and I'm going to learn. Otherwise, it's a one day, someday game. So I made up my mind that I'm going to come out in 2008-ish time frame, way back in 2006. So चाहे लट्टा उतर बट्टा उतर life को, I had to be an entrepreneur, right? So that's how I made the date. I didn't even care what was happening outside. 18 months, I didn't take any salary. चित्रकूट में यहाँ पर अक्षरधाम के सामने मैंने कमरा लिया. अक्षरधाम सामने एक शॉप है जहाँ पर अभी एक गिफ्ट शॉप चलती है. उसका सेकंड फ्लोर मैंने 3 मंजिला का किराए पे कर लिया. खुद बनाता था रोटी. I was 37-year-old man. I came, I left my family back in Bangalore. चित्रकूट में आप जब अक्षरधाम लेफ्ट में जाते हैं, राइट में एक वकील का घर है हमारे, उनका स्टेडियम के पास चित्रकूट में. उनका बेसमेंट अभी कोचिंग सेंटर चलता है. 700 square feet. Sandeep, he was living there. Hired that place. 4 people I hired initially. I lived there, started this company with nothing. And I used to give people salary, looking for our first project we got $2,500. That's all what we got. So again, as a part of the coaching conversation, I have a lot to share, lot to help people to understand what it takes to build the company and build the enterprise. So Ritesh, that's my background. कभी मुझे चिंता नहीं थी, फिक्र नहीं थी कि चलेगा नहीं चलेगा. मेरी वाइफ विजू, उनका नाम है विजय लक्ष्मी. She was 1988 when I met with her. She was 16, I was 17. She's my childhood, love at first sight in Alwar. She was in Polytechnic with me. She's Brahmin, I'm Agarwal, I'm Bansal. It was love marriage in those days. Right? So I told her that look, 5 साल चाहिए मुझे विजू. नहीं करूँगा, कहीं भी नौकरी करूँगा, लेकिन मुझे 5 साल चाहिए. आपको क्या चाहिए इन 5 साल में? तो उन्होंने बोला बच्चे अच्छे स्कूल जाएं, खाने पीने के लिए घर में रहे, इतना ही चाहिए. तो देन मैंने बोला कितना खर्चा होता है महीने का. So we calculated monthly expenses. We multiply 12, multiply that by 5 times and say you and kids will be all set. This crazy man's crazy idea. I cannot die without trying this. And I have to be an entrepreneur. So that's how I started Ritesh. And I was not sure whether it's going to work or not, but I had to do. And you never time the market. कभी भी stock market में लगाते हो, तो that's my advice. You never time the market. There's always opportunity and chances to do it what you want. Though you need to prepare, but don't wait. If you're ready, then you do it. Did I answer your question, Abhishek? Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Speaking of which, you also mentioned that your goal for 2030 is to reach 250 million in revenue at In Time Tec.
Yep.
कैसे?
हाँ. कैसे पहुंचोगे? पागल समझ लिया.
So what are the strategies and things?
All right. Again, I'm going to become geeky and nerdy. It's just going together like humans and business all go hand in hand technology. See, if you look at 2008, we started the company right now. This year we are going to do about $37.5 million top line is our revenue right now in Time Tec.
37, did you say?
$37 million. Global.
Okay.
And our CAGR, compound annual growth rate, from, if you do the math, it is 33%. 33% on an average annually we grew over the last 16 years.
By revenue?
By revenue.
Okay.
Right? 0 to 37, it comes down to that number.
Okay.
If we grow by 33% for the next 6, 7 years, we'll be $350 million company.
Yeah.
Now the question is how, right? Base is high. 2 million को 33% करना आसान है. 37 million को 33% grow करना बड़ा मुश्किल का काम है. Right? It's not easy. In absolute fashion, we are talking about 10, 12, $30 million. So I have a simple strategy about that. One strategy is, you might be, if you follow me on LinkedIn, please do follow and you will get to know. There is a organization that we became part of called NMSDC.
Yeah.
It's the National Minority Supply Development Council. They are 18,500 MBE certified. They are minority owned, women owned, veterans owned. They are the companies in the US get a separate.
So Horizontal is also a minority owned business.
Perfect. So MBE.
Yeah.
Right. So we are one of those MBEs. Out of those 18,500 MBEs, there are only 148 MBEs. Those are corporate plus members. And the qualification of corporate plus member is there's certain revenue mark you need to have. And a company of Fortune, now they have really changed, Fortune 100 company has to sponsor you to become a corporate plus member. And we got that sponsorship from HP. So we became member of Corporate Plus. I was there on the stage last month and talked about AI and generative AI and the future of that. It's all out there on LinkedIn. I think that NMSDC organization allowing us to become a part of the league, Anil, which was not part of us earlier. So we are moving from boys clubs to men's clubs.
So you have access to now
Companies like Apple, Boeing, Starbucks. We are talking about a bunch of Airbnb and the large companies. And we are becoming a part of their vendor list now.
Okay.
Right? So I truly believe the way we are moving, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of them can take us to that number. Right? So that's number one strategy, by the way. Not that it will happen. No, proof lies in the pudding. Right? Is there no guarantee of the future? But that's a strategy. That's what you live into. Second, we are right now building 6 new products.
Okay.
Right? And our product strategy is not that our company, our idea generation is not our core. Right? We are pathetic about कौन सा प्रोडक्ट बनाए ये नहीं आता हमें समझ में, लेकिन अगर किसी ने बता दिया तो हम करने में माहिर हैं. We are very good in executing. So here the strategy we came up with. There is a product we are building in next gen ag tech. Someone who had a feedlot managers, like feedlot is a cow friends to slaughterhouse. There is a whole beef management system there. Cow, we don't eat, but in the US it's a whole business over there on the
Big business.
right feedlot. There's a company based out of Idaho. Idaho has 2 major industry, ag and tech. So they knew ag, we knew tech. We built a 50% joint venture. So they allowing us to give the platform of ag tech. We are building a whole ag tech ERP system, managing them from calf ranch through immunization, delivery, feeding, all that to up to they go into slaughterhouse. So that whole ERP system we are deployed into 9 feedlots, and we are just going big on that. Second, this company based out of LA they are good in airport management system. We are creating another 50% joint venture called Aero Suite.
Okay.
So they know airport management system, we know technology, we just build an Aero Suite, right? There are other products like Cartos and manage, like we are building bunch of supplier match we just launched, where in NMSDC, a lot of people want suppliers, but then they don't know who to reach out to. And a lot of people want business, but they don't know which company is looking for. So we build this suppliermatch.com. Again, there's someone who is expert in that. We build the joint venture, we are doing it, and now it's becoming mainstream product. So that's our second strategy, right? And along with that, we are also having a public, like government agencies. Idaho, we are doing about right now, about $12 million-ish, give and take, ARR, potential in 2025, that much revenue we will do. Right now, we are doing about $7-8 million. But the government agencies, federal agencies, that's another portion of it. And then lastly, global expansion. We open up 6 new offices. Australia, South Korea, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, the Netherlands, and Colombia.
Yep.
So total 8 offices. So that's the third portion of our global expansion. So I call it Horizon 1, Horizon 2, Horizon 3 strategy. Again, I have no idea what will be in 2030, but I'm getting up every day and living towards that it's already done. And if it is not done, we will still eat samosa and kachori that day, right? We'll have a party as a company, right? We'll have and if we reach, we will still have samosa kachori party at home.
Cool. Very cool. हो जाएगा.
आपका आशीर्वाद रहना चाहिए.
आशीर्वाद नहीं, दुआ. Looking back at your journey, if there is one decision that you would redo, what would that be and why? आठ साल के
8 साल
तब से
तब से see I don't want to change anything, right? I don't live a life of regrets. It's all done, but there are two things. बहुत छोटी चीजें हैं लेकिन मेरे लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें हैं. उसके बाद मैंने बेंगलोर में एक घर खरीदा जब मैं 2006 में था. There is a Prestige Garden in Old Madras Road. That's where I was renting 2006 to 2007. And then I bought a house called Samita Square. I felt the area where I bought the house was not the right place. But I bought it because I was looking for a cost-effective option. Second, and I'll tell you about what I did after that. So, if choice was given to me, I would buy a house in Prestige.
Prestige, not in this area.
Not in that area.
Okay.
Antar bahut zyada nahi tha, but I felt like I needed to save money to really go for the future and everything, and I compromised on living for a year and a half-ish, 2 years. Family lived, a year I lived. Second, I bought a car that was small for my family in 2006 here. Centro.
Again, for the same reason?
Same reason.
Okay.
I think since then, heck with everything, they know. Maximum time you spend time in a home or in your car or in your office. Since 2000, whatever the time is, I have never compromised on a house and a car and an office. Period. Always state of the art, always the high end, always the top end. I don't care. Because that's where you are going to spend maximum.
Obviously, he doesn't care.
And so,
but the point is that, sometimes cheaper options are, or a lot of time, cheaper options are not better options.
Yeah, and also it was less about my own suffering. मैं तो हम गरीब घर से नहीं, हम तो कहीं सो जाएं. But family suffered. And that was not okay with me. Because of your choices, your loved one is not having a comfortable life was not okay. Now, again, तुम Mercedes खरीदो, Ferrari खरीदो या फिर एक decent car खरीदो जिसमें कि आपका 15-20, right? It all comparative. So again, it's not a show off or affluence, and like it's something that your family and you decide that's comfortable.
So the most important things in life, don't take cheaper options if you can afford better options.
Better option, at least to the level where you and your family members and loved ones and collective agreement is that's a better choice.
But not for everything.
Not for
the important things.
Because that, अगर आप सुबह जब तक तैयार होते हैं, आप घर में रहते हैं, वहां से ड्राइव करके घर पे ऑफिस में आते हैं, ऑफिस से ड्राइव करके आप घर जाते हैं, तो आप देखेंगे तो 99% ऑफ योर टाइम ना बाहर कभी majority of the time you spend on a home and a car and an office. You pay attention to it.
ऑफिस तो अच्छा है. घर और गाड़ी. Okay.
तीन ही चीजें. You will, by the way, like if you ever get a chance to come to In Time Tec, you should come. I built a executive suite inside the office itself. वहीं रहता हूँ मैं. Like when I came from US, I parked my vehicle. I don't know, the car ही नहीं है. But like almost here, like we come over here for driving. Otherwise, just live there. And I would highly recommend and invite all of you guys to visit. Visit the office, see the office.
ठीक है. Speaking of that, one interesting question that I always ask.
Please.
Almost all my guests is, has your leadership ever come under severe pressure and scrutiny, both? If so, how did you navigate the situation?
Yeah. And talk about this from people's judgment or business viability?
People judgment first.
Oh, that you don't worry about it. Me, just like I always live in the thin age, right? I'll tell you about this. This is very controversial. You will not agree with me as well. So you will challenge my leadership here.
Even if they say this, actually they are not agreeing.
I know.
Yeah.
2021 October. COVID happened 2020 March.
Yes.
April, there is second stuff happen here, like second phase or whatever.
Second wave.
Wave. October of that year. Imagine. I put my foot down that everybody needs to come to office. 2020, 1 October. I told all employees, Jaipur or Bangalore, have to work from the office. And people were pissed, angry. क्या समझ लिया है? पागल हो गया है?
Yeah, I can understand that.
I understand, Anil.
You will feel that.
Yeah, and it was a matter of principles, not matter of righteousness. Here's my principle about that. By the way, I have no problem working from home, but that category W, working from home, WFH, I'm so dead against. And I'll give you some idea because that's why I'm saying you will challenge my leadership here only. Because that's like, what the hell are you talking about? I know. I have a two concept called work from office or remote work. There's a difference between work from home or a remote worker. We are all remote worker of our US counterparts. They are working from here, right? You might have another office in India, you are a remote worker for them.
Yes.
Just like we have an office in Bangalore, we are a remote worker for them. Just like they are a remote worker for us.
Yeah.
Our office, work from home is a privilege. It is a entitlement. I have no problem you work from home if you have a sick father or mother or some alien parent, or you have a sick child. You can work from home that day. But not as a permanent setup, because you can work from home. And here's the principal conversation. 2020 में जब मैंने 2021 में I said क्या चाय वाला, क्या धोबी, like जो कपड़ा वाला, conductor, drivers, you name it, any shopkeepers, villages, shopkeeper जो काम कर रहे हैं, वो क्या घर से काम कर सकते हैं? क्या वो मनुष्य नहीं है? उनकी लाइफ इतनी इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है जितनी आईटी वर्कर्स की लाइफ इंपॉर्टेंट है भाई.
बहुत ज्यादा.
उनकी लाइफ इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है.
हमारे बिना कुछ चलेगा ही नहीं.
So I was like, no, if you talk about equality, if you talk about equity, if you talk about justice, if you talk about principles, if you talk about abundance, या तो like why we can work from home and they cannot. Your parents, if you are a shopkeeper they have to go out, but you can work from your room because you have a laptop and internet connection. घर से काम करना कोई बुरी बात नहीं है, पर आप घर से काम क्यों कर रहे हो? There is a question one needs to ask, and there is a genuine answer you will find कि हम कर सकते हैं इसलिए कर रहे हैं. जरूरत है या नहीं है उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Coming back to HR, our director of people in HR, कहाँ तुमने सुना होगा, she lives in Delhi and work from remote. Our director of HR is remote, and I'm okay with that.
Because you don't have an office in Delhi.
An office in Delhi, and she's such an important part of the company. She will go to Hong Kong, or she will go to wherever she will work for in Time Tec.
Okay.
Right? So there is some level of.
So when you made this decision, your leadership came under tremendous scrutiny.
पत्थर नहीं फेंके बस सर पे, मेरा सर भी नहीं था, right? But if you go out, you will see it.
Okay. How did you manage this? How did you come out of it?
I just did it.
Okay. You just did not care.
I just did it.
Do you think in such a situation, people analyze you and your decision as a person rather than the need or the situation?
I think they really, they're never able to question the Jeet ke, like I was ready to come to I was ready to put my life into it. They had a less question mark about my agenda, but they were not sure how this agenda is going to help in Time Tec.
Okay.
Right? उनको लगता था कि क्या फर्क पड़ता है यार, अभी तो कोविड है, क्या कुछ. मुझे लगा कि गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज हैं, like I would, if government shut downs everything, I'll shut down in time.
But I think the trend has reversed now.
Oh, okay, Amazon, like they're putting your foot on 5 days, you better come to the office.
Yeah.
Companies are struggling to bring their employees back to the work. Now they are forcing everyone, completing this conversation.
Why is that happening? Like, if something has survived for 4 years, like, people working from anywhere, companies survived. So why do you think companies are now in a spot where they are saying either come to office every day or leave?
Yeah, there's whole study out there.
What is making them
There are
do it?
whole study out there. Creativity and innovations are compromised when you work from home. You cannot innovate. Like, you need a greater mindset together.
Yeah.
Right? You need to have a hallway conversations. You need to have an ad hoc conversation. You need to bounce off some ideas together in an ad hoc way. That is missing in that setup. So companies like Amazon, others are realizing that people need to be together.
Yeah.
You can't have a conferences remotely. They did earlier. You cannot have, certain things cannot be done remotely, right? So you asked me a question. We really took it to the next level in this conversation. It's a principle-based conversation, right? So my methodology of, as a leader making a decision, once I'm clear, I will explain people to why, but then I'm not looking for agreement or disagreements.
Okay.
I'm not looking for their understanding either. I'm just saying, here is my stand, here's my why. If you agree, be together. If you don't, part ways.
Does it come across as an autocratic leadership a lot?
Yeah.
Like, it does?
For some people, for certain people. By the way, talking about 500 people resign, we did the whole research, no more than 15 people resign. Right? Because of that. Now, people were
COVID times.
right? Yeah, nobody resigned. And I think, again, people have a credibility conversation with me now. They look at me less in autocratic. They look at more of a, I don't understand why he needs to be so crazy. Okay. Right? So they know that it's not about Jeet, it's not about what, but they don't understand my thought process at times. And I do my best to explain why, do the communication, over communicate, but I don't look for agreement.
So do you think since people's perception is built from their own learning experiences and how much of exposure and the world that they have seen versus yours, and usually that is narrow in the moment. And that is going to become bigger as they progress in their life. But their slightly narrow way of looking at things.
Yes, they have a limited, constrained view.
Okay, yeah.
And I think, again, but I do listen to them and I explain to them why I'm doing it.
Cool. That was my last question. So thank you so much. I don't think we have any more time to pick up any question, but thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. And
Here's what I want to say, Anil.
Yeah.
I want to go back to what I shared a few minutes ago, that when we started, thank you very much for having. It's a privilege, because creation, I didn't know when we were getting into the conversation. My experience right now, that each person sitting here got at least one thing. And I don't know what that one thing is. Mm-hmm. And in the life, if you get one thing, you don't know the importance of the one thing. It can change the trajectory of humans. It can change the trajectory of you. So if you have not taken a one thing away so far, please identify one thing, whatever that might be. If you have more than one, it's all good. And put your life into it to implement that one thing in your life. And you will see the change in your life in the next 6 months to a year. It'll be remarkable. It'll be remarkable. For me, I think I am very clear about, you came on this planet, I came here empty-handed. I'm going to leave empty-handed. Life is a collection of moments. Life happens now. Life is not yesterday. Life is not tomorrow. Life is now or never game. Don't let your worries and concerns and guilt and fears hold you back. Mm-hmm. Have a clarity, the life that you want to live, and live it in your terms. And then have a way to develop capabilities and generate resources to support that kind of a life. And the life becomes profoundly inspirational to a lot of people. That's Jeet. My 2 kids are there. My son is 24 years old. He's going to be 25 in March. He graduated from UC Berkeley with computer science. A guy who grew up in a small village. And my daughter, she's in UC San Diego doing public health. She's freshman, just entered into college. Some generations need to do the work. They change the trajectory from no possibility and scarcity to abundance of possibility, and be that generation. It'll be worth living this life on this planet, and that's my love for you. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.